How Did I Get Here? By Phillip Bunting. Let's start at the beginning, or at least what we think is the beginning. Once upon a time, our entire universe fit into a space smaller than an orange. In those days, there wasn't much to see around here. No light, no stars, no earth. It's heavy, man. Until one day, there was a really, really, really big bang! In about the time it takes to eat an ice cream, all of the bits that make up our universe were created. This is the stuff we're all made from. You, me, this book, your lunch, we're all made of particles that have been around since the beginning of time. Hello, bonjour. As they floated through the universe, some of these particles began to bump into one another. A few enjoyed each other's company so much they decided to stick together. G'day! Eventually, so many particles stuck together that they started to make things. At first, they formed ginormous dust clouds. These dust clouds attracted more and more particles. Over unfathomable lengths of time, they created suns. And eventually, planets, who can't resist the pull of a good sun. You are my sunshine. Home sweet home. Our home planet's called Earth. There we are, towards the middle of our solar system. But Earth wasn't always quite as homely as it is today. At first, it was pretty warm around here, but over time, the Earth began to cool. A long, long time ago, to more recently. As our planet continued to cool, more and more of those particles were drawn together. Some arrived from space, riding on meteors. Some eventually became the land and the water on the Earth's surface. Then one day, many moons ago, the Earth was not too hot and not too cold. The warm water was just right for the magic to happen. Ta-da! And just like that, life came into existence. The first life form was pretty simple. She couldn't see or hear or wear a party hat, but she had one very special trick. She could make copies of herself. Hello, handsome. This is where all of our stories start. All life on Earth came from this single-celled being. You can think of her as your great times a trillion, dillion, squillion granny. You, me, the trees, witchetty grubs, whales and wolves, we're all related to this little lady. All of life is one. She might have been simple, but your great granny times a gazillion was no slouch. Through generations upon generations, her children, your ancestors, slowly adapted to make the most of life in the warm waters of our early Earth. Well, on this flowchart, very important small print. Our ancestors first developed eyes at this stage. All peepers on creatures earlier than this have been gratuitously added for comic effect. Party hat also added for comic effect. This guy's name was Bob. Then one fine day, one particularly unassuming but industrious little fish decided to see what she could see beyond the sea. Her land-loving children would go on to become land animals. From dinosaurs to donkeys, yaks to you, we can all trace our family tree back to this adventurous amphibian. Nothing to see here. And of course, your evolutionary adventure didn't stop there. Over unimaginable lengths of time, our ancestors adapted to life on the land, and then life in the trees. And from an ancestor we share with chimps, we slowly evolved into the species we are today, humans. The first humans lived in Africa, but our sense of curiosity and adventure soon took us to all corners of the earth. Wherever you live on Earth, we're all descended from some very clever people who live right about there. Except Antarctica. We left that to the penguins. Eventually, we stopped wandering and began to settle down. How we get here? We learned how to farm, fire. We built communities, and then towns and cities. Then one night, only a few years ago, some of those particles that were once part of the stars and the earth, and probably another life form or two, became you. Oh my. Somewhere inside your mum's tummy, day by day, you began to become you. Until one fine day, you made your grand entrance, And that is how you got here. You're very lucky to be here. You're one of the newest additions to a family tree that goes all the way back to the very first life on Earth. And just think, if any little thing had changed in the time after that first really, really, really big bang, you might have turned out a little different. Our universe is so much more unimaginably marvellous than we can ever suppose. We know so little. There's just still so much more to discover about how we got here and where we're going. One thing we do know is that we humans only have one home. You're sitting on it. It's yours to take care of. If you only do one thing with this wild and beautiful life, make it your mission to leave the Earth and everyone that shares it with you in better shape than they were when you got